Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in on a video on how to make a gallery walk with a discussion board in Google Slides. So there are a couple things that we want to accomplish with this tutorial. First is how to make a gallery walk. What is a gallery walk and what are some uses of the gallery walk? So that will be the first thing that we go over. I will give you the template to this particular gallery walk that I created just so you can use it, copy it, modify it for your own needs in your classroom. The second thing that we will do is go over teacher and student expectations. Where do the teachers lay out their expectations? Where do the students do their work? And then we'll go over how to modify each of the slides using the Google tools within Google Slides. And lastly, we'll talk about two different ways to have a discussion board within this activity. So how do we set up a gallery walk? It's very simple. The first slide typically is the direction slide from the teacher. This is where the teacher lays out everything that the students need to know to be able to complete this activity. Then the student slides, they're very blank at the beginning because they're going to manipulate this to meet the needs of the directions that you already set. Usually what I do is I just put a spot where the student can enter their name, or I put numbers at the bottom. If I put numbers at the bottom, usually I attach a class roster with each student having a number assigned to them. So that's the slide that they will manipulate. Or I just say first come, first serve. To be honest, I've never had a problem with first come, first serve. You just ask them to respect everybody in the classroom. Once a student puts their name at the top, that's their slide. And really it's that easy for the setup. So I do have 25 student slides here. You can modify this to fit the number of students in your classroom. Alright, so let's go up to the direction slide. This is the big role of the teacher to get this activity started. There are a couple different components that I like on the direction slide. These are narrative, research, engagement activity, or creation, whatever you want to call it there, how to share it, and then the collaborative feedback. So these are our expectations for this particular assignment. If you want to personalize this a little bit, you can do a screencast and embed a screencast into the Google slide deck. Students do love that when you do it. But let's start with narrative. This is where we're going to enter our directions or list a set of questions. Really, this is any type of resource that could give students background to the activity. Based on this set of directions or the narrative or a set of questions, you're going to ask students to do research. So they have to go out and find the answers to the set of questions, or maybe they just watched a video and they had to ask themselves a question as to what is going on in that video. And once they made a hypothesis, they had to go and try to find research that backed it up. So when I ask students to do research, I like to see proof that they've done it. And usually I allow them to pick how they show that they've done research. They could simply just put a guided notes doc and attach it to their Google slide. They can attach a YouTube video and then write a brief synopsis of what they learned from that video. Or they can do the same thing with a website, just so they could show where they got information. I like to use a couple of the student examples to model good research, like good academic research. That's another thing that I could do at the beginning of one of these gallery walk activities. Next up, we have the engagement activity, or basically what are the students going to create? What do we want them to do with this newly acquired information? There has to be some type of an end game. So once they figure out what they want to create, I would recommend giving them a couple options as to what they could do, whether it's a slide deck presentation, a screencast, a live demonstration, whatever you want them to do there to present this information. That's great. Next up, I asked them to share their creation on an assigned slide. So whatever their assigned slide is, I ask them to upload their creation there. It could be a link if it's made somewhere else. If it's an infographic, it could be a link to that infographic. That's just an example. After that, the students are going to collaborate. They're going to look at each other's slides, and they're going to offer feedback. So students can provide feedback in a couple different ways using Google Slides. One is up at the top, they can post a comment. So I already posted a couple comments to this to remind myself, but we could type in any type of a comment here. So I'm just going to put comment there, and that will put it off to the side. The other way that they could do is they can come down here and they can write their comment in the presentation notes at the bottom. One of the reasons why I like this is because, especially if I'm doing a paragraph or a longer comment, this allows me to use something that is found up here in Tools. So real quick, I'm going to erase this down here, and I'm going to go up to Tools, and I'm going to go to Voice Type Speaker Notes. So this allows me to really just speak what I want to say. And this will help some of our students out, because if they're like me and they have big fingers and they don't like to type because you hit two keys at the same time, or maybe it's in their IEP or 504 plan, this is a great way to get around that. So I'm just going to speak into this real quick. Hey, this was a great idea. Keep up the good work! Exclamation point. And then that just leaves the comment down here. The one thing that I would always recommend, if you do use the presentation notes so they know where it came from, have them put their name out front. Another reason why I like the presentation notes more than the comments is, if this was a debate activity, this is just one example that I've used this for, I can easily copy and paste anything down here in the presenter notes to a Google Doc and then manipulate it. So if someone just told me a good point that I can make for my debate, I could just take a quick copy and paste here and put that into a Google Doc, and that would be good. If you're going to leave everything inside of this slide deck, comments is very easy, and that's a great solution as well. Alright, so let's switch over to the student role. And the students have to manipulate their slides to fit these directions that we've given. So let's go over to the student slide here. They could change their name just by clicking in the box. When they want to insert things into their slide, they just go up to Insert, and they can insert text boxes, images, audio now, video, any of this stuff. But I want to show you something that is hidden inside of Google that I think gets underutilized, and that is found under Tools. So if you go up here to Tools and you click the Explore button, this brings up this search bar. And this is really similar to a Google search if you just go to the search engine. So if I wanted to search Allied powers of World War II, and I hit enter, what it does is it brings these web results there. This allows the students to search just by being in their Google Slides browser here. So if you look, these are a lot of options. Let's just click on this one. This one looks interesting. It's by Encyclopedia Britannica. So we can go and we can look and see if this is what we want. And this gives us a lot of good information here. Maybe this is something that we want to use and that we look and we do our guide notes on. Well, we could just go up here, hit Control-C, and copy that link, and then go back into here, insert a text box, and we can paste that link in. And underneath it, I would probably tell them to make another text box and and show me what they got from this resource or link their guided notes. The other thing that I really like about the Explore option here is images. So based on our allied powers of World War II, we also have these maps. Maybe I want to include a map into this. So we could just, if this is the map that we like, we could hit the plus button. It takes a second to come in, but it comes in. From there, what we could do, if we wanted to, right now it's giving us the hyperlink to the Google search that got us this picture. We could take this and we can edit the link and just use this as our cover picture for maybe our final creation activity that we made. So maybe we did something in another program such as ThingLink or TES Teach, and that was our final creation activity. Maybe what we would do there is just edit this to bring up our activity when we click on it. So that is a simple way of using Google Explore within the tools section of slides to help you easily bring stuff into your presentation slide. So we've gone over the teacher role of making the directions. We've gone over the student role of making their slides. We've learned a couple of tools within Google, such as Explore and voice type speaker notes. And we learned how to provide feedback in two different ways. You can go to comments, or you could use the presentation notes. If you're using the speaker, the voice tool up here, voice type speaker notes, you'll want to stay down in the presentation. If you do not need that tool, you might want to stay up into the comment section. So I hope this gives you some inspiration to make a distance learning gallery walk with a discussion board inside of Google Slides. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out and we'll try to help you out as soon as possible.